All right, welcome back to the Prospecting Show. Today is June 21st. Not even sure what episode this is going to be because we are in the process of editing about 30 different episodes right now from some awesome entrepreneurs and people who came on the show. So, shout out to all of you who during COVID came on the show, talked about your business, told us what you do, how you help other people. And also a huge shout out to Seth Rubin from Profit Trust. That's profit-trust.com. He is a great person to look at. Profit Trust is really focused around helping you recover your expenses. So if you have a business and you're paying some kind of monthly recurring bill, you have a shipping bill, a UPS, a FedEx, you have really anything that is a recurring bill, even phone bills, VoIP bills, internet bills, things like that. Stripe, you use Stripe heavily. Let's say you're some kind of entrepreneur and you're online service based and you're using Stripe all the time. Profit Trust is definitely a company you want to check out. They are not paying me for this ad here. I'm just giving a shout out here for Seth and Ben, really, over at Profit Trust. We had some great conversations the other day, and we were talking about networking. And funny enough, we were trying to figure out how to actually network more efficiently because both of us, or really all of us, are used to doing some trade shows in addition to just pure online development. And because Syntax is a company that really specializes in online business development, it was a very interesting conversation to figure out how we were going to move forward with some of the clients who are so used to doing in-person work. And so Seth actually invited me to this group called Funders and Founders. I'm not even sure if they have a website yet, but it's a social gathering every 2 weeks. And it's basically a bunch of entrepreneurs, specialists, people who know what they're doing in the field. And it is a really great opportunity for people who are starting up looking for money, through a venture capital fund or through private equity, or people who are looking for ways that they can interact with other people and share their business ideas and fix their website and improve their message and get sales and do marketing and get fractional C-level roles like a CEO or CTO or COO, things like that. Those are really interesting ways that you can network with people, and we're doing that all through Zoom. It's pretty cool. It's like a happy hour thing, unless you're on the West Coast, and then it's like a 4 o'clock thing. But hey, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. So, this episode here, I wanted to not make it too long, but going forward on the prospecting show, there are going to be a bunch of episodes that are just me talking about things that I think are important. And while I'm doing this, I'm also writing the 7 minute phone call. It's actually done. It's just in editing right now. And the 7 minute phone call is just a compilation of all of the different work that I've done in the last 2.5 years. Even beyond that, there's some concepts in there about ways that you can communicate with people and kind of grow your business and all that. But the reason I wrote the book is I figured, hey, I had to figure out a lot of stuff in the last 2 years, and it made sense to put it on paper and try to give it to other people to share, with them, the wins, the losses, the highs, the lows, the things you can do, how to be successful, how not to be successful. And so that book is coming out, the 7 minute phone call. We'll get up a website, and it's print on demand for Amazon. So if you're interested in actually checking that out, that would be super useful. So on to this episode here. Uh, we were talking a little bit about ways that you can get your sales team, your outside sales team, more involved. Because one of the biggest things is that with COVID right now, even though it's dialing down and all the businesses are opening back up, there's still only two things that really matter, right? There's the setting of the appointments and there's taking of the appointments. And a lot of these sales guys that are outside are so worried about, like, what's my route? How can I get from point A to point B? What are the accounts that I can go to? And yet they don't actually use a calendar really at all. They just kind of schedule stuff on the fly and they don't have a system in place. And so I sat down with one of my good friends, Chaz Januzzi from Match One Medical. That's matchonemedical.com. And we were talking about how there's a huge need to have 1 day per week of scheduling. And that 1 day a week per scheduling really needs to be phone talk time. And the sales guys, even if they're outside sales, they need to have some business development days. And Chaz kind of brought up a great point. He said he used to work at Cintas before he started at Match One Medical with his good buddy Joe Herman. And so, there's a sense of two parts. There's really two parts of the business process, right? Of selling. There's business development or prospecting, which is something that we specialize in at Syntax. But then there's also the relationship development, right? And not all relationships have to be developed in person. There's a lot that can be developed on the phone. There's some that can be developed in person. There's some that, can be done through doing more sales, referrals. There's a lot of different ways that people can be successful. And so, because of that, what I like to do is schedule 1 day per week where it's only phone calls. Now, because my business is service based, I do this every single day of the week, but I recommend all of our clients and partners have 1 day per week set up like that. And the fastest way you can do that is you can go to calendly.com. That's CALENDY.com. And you get a free account there. And in that free account, you will have an option to set up an appointment. It's going to come stock out of the box with three different types of appointments. And that's kind of their premium plan. You don't need that. It ends up costing you about 170, 160 bucks per year, which is still really inexpensive, but you really only need the free plan. And so what you're going to do is you're going to downgrade after 30 days, which will automatically happen. And you're going to set one appointment. And that appointment is going to be called discovery call, or it's going to be a business relationship call. You can call it whatever you want. I have a couple different events myself, but my primary one's called the discovery call. I like to set that as a 30-minute appointment, and that 30-minute appointment should be scheduled 12 to 16 times in 1 day. So that's going to get you your 8 hours, right? And you should schedule them every 30 minutes, kind of back to back, and you set up the Calendly link and you integrate that with your Google Calendar. And there's always people who say, oh, well, I use Outlook. Listen, get rid of Outlook. It is not conducive to be able to build out automation in your business and really scale. I mean, Outlook's a great piece of software. There's a lot of people who use it. I get it. But if you want to have systems in place, you want to use the path of least resistance and the most supported platforms. And right now, that's Google Calendar. So you're going to calendly.com and you're going to actually go get an account, set a discovery call, set the timing 30 minutes, and have them every 30 minutes for an 8 hour day. Maybe make it 6 hours when you just start, but only make it 1 day per week, especially if you're doing outside sales. And in that 1 day per week, you want to make sure that when you first start out, you don't make it seem like you're super available. So my recommendation is under the settings where it says, how far in the future would you like to schedule? Instead of allowing 60 rolling days, which means that you can schedule from today's date, whatever date they're scheduling on, they can schedule 60 days into the future. I recommend somewhere between 14 and 21 days. There is nobody who really wants to schedule with you more than 2 weeks out if there's something worthwhile talking about. So you should just set it to be, again, 14 to 21 days scheduled in the future, a 30-minute appointment. And if you want to start off small and don't want to have a ton of appointments on the first time you try this, there is a setting that says book or show every 1 hour or show every 30 minutes. If you show every 30 minutes in an 8 hour day, you're going to have 16 appointments. If you show every 1 hour, you'll only have the eight appointments. And the great thing about this too is you set your time zone. So I know there's a lot of people in the United States who work in the 4 time zones: PST, MST, Central, and EST, right? Those are the 4 major time zones that most people are working in. And so the great thing is if you're doing business that's not just in one spot, or you have team meetings or whatever it is, you should easily be able to set this up so that you are only, like, when you send your calendar and you're on the East Coast, someone on the West Coast is going to get the offset and see exactly when you're available. So there's no back and forth. This is going to do three things. One, it's going to cut down on the back and forth emails. The second thing is it's going to allow people to see your schedule. And the third thing is it's going to allow people to have automation built into their business. And with the basic level of Calendly, you're not going to have the ability to have automation. You actually have to upgrade to the mid-level, or actually I think even the highest level now, which is like their premium account. And when you do that, what you can do is you can set up some automations through Zapier. That's zapier.com, zapier.com, or if you're in Canada, that's zapier.com. And what Zapier will allow you to do is anytime somebody schedules an appointment, it can kick off a workflow. And a workflow is basically a sequence of events that occurred that make your life easier. So it could send out a confirmation email. It could send out a text message. It could send someone else on your team a meeting invite. It could put these people into an email drip sequence to educate them ahead of time. There's lots of things that you could do surrounding automation, but you have to be use the tools. You have to be willing to use the tools that are going to help you grow your business. And that's why I said it needs to be Google Calendar, it needs to be Calendly. You need to set it up and make it really easy. And as you get good, the outside sales guys, realistically, those calls should be for two things: demos and closes. Demos and closes. It should not be just straight prospecting. You can do a prospect meeting, but it takes the same amount of effort to meet somebody in person with roughly the same success as you do on the phone. So if I called you up to your business and said, listen, I have a potential solution that can help you with your business that's going to either make you money, or save you time, or help someone else, maybe your customer, I don't necessarily need to come in person, do a physical in-person demo to show you that. If you're selling a $100,000 piece of capital equipment that requires financing, or you're selling a car or something like that requires like a physical demo, then yes, that's a different situation. But most businesses today, especially service businesses, but even other product businesses, can do their preliminary demo over the phone or over Zoom. Get Zoom, that's zoom.us, go download it. It's free as well. There are upgraded versions that you can get, but just get the free one. And then when you set these appointments on Fridays or Wednesdays or whatever day it is you end up setting that one day of outside or inside sales appointments, you should be setting up appointments where you talk to people, show them what you're doing, put a slide deck together of 10 to 15 slides and talk to them. Have a conversation, ask them about their problems, their solutions, what they're looking for, how you can help them, and really train these people on what's going to be successful. Give them the information, give them the tools so that they can feel as though they're being productive in your company. There's only two reasons that people leave most companies, right? Number one is that they found an opportunity that they feel is better. And number two is training, right? And really, most people would not leave a company if they enjoyed the work environment and got the pay that they thought they deserved. And the problem is that it's just like chasing, as Matthew McConaughey says, it's like chasing your hero. Your hero is you, and years from now, same with your pay. Your pay is what you think you're going to get in the future. So you're always chasing that. You're never really going to hit what you're never going to get to a point where like, yeah, that's enough. So you really need to be focused on training your people and growing your team and educating your team and building out operating procedures like this Calendly system where people say, take the 5 days of work that you're doing for outside sales, compress it into 4 days, spend that one day doing business development and relationship calls. And if you want, take the rest of Friday off. But you will be so much more productive taking 6 back to back phone calls on a Friday morning than going and pounding the pavement out at somebody's office. And my recommendation, honestly, is that you start dwindling down your time as much as possible because you can do the same amount of work in less time if you get rid of the stuff that doesn't matter. And the best way that you can do that is through automation. So Calendly.com, get your Google Calendar, you integrate those for free. There's a quick button, you go at the very top, calendar or settings, calendar integrations, hook it up to your calendar. Then set one appointment called a discovery call. Make it a 30-minute appointment. And to start, set that appointment so it can only happen 8 times a day, which is 1 hour increments. Once you get really good, you can set it at a half hour per day where you're getting 16 appointments in that day. Set it one day per week, and then you get this link, this URL. This URL you can put in your footer of your signature line of your email. You can put it at your website. You can put it in a sales funnel that you have. You can have a video sales letter, which we'll talk about in another episode. But these are all the things that you need to do to create automation in your business. And as you get better and better and better, you can set up workflows on the back side of this. And those workflows will allow you to notify your team or send up email education or all these different things like, hey, this is what we're doing. This is how it helps you. These are the different components. And people actually get a lot of value out of that. And so that's why it's really important that you set that up. Hopefully, that's been a good episode here about setting up automation for scheduling your week out. Thank you so much for listening to the Prospecting Show, and I'll check you out on the next episode.